Dark Horse successfully reintroduced Star Wars into the comic market in 1992 by focusing on the characters from the original trilogy. In 1993, they would learn if there was an audience for stories that moved beyond the Skywalker saga when they published Tales of the Jedi. In this next installment of the Year by Year Guide, we will look at the Dark Horse Star Wars comics published in 1993. Classic Star Wars number 6 through 15. Dark Horse's Star Wars output grew from just 10 comics in 1992 to 16 in 1993. This was still a modest number before the line expanded considerably in later years. Of the 1993 releases, 10 issues are for the classic Star Wars title, which reprints the comic strips by Archie Goodwin and Al Williamson. Classic Star Wars chronicles the exploits of the main heroes between the first and second movies. The main narrative involves Luke Skywalker's mission to bring recordings from the Fondor shipyards to the rebel leaders on Yavin 4. There, the rebels identify the new menace of Darth Vader's flagship, the Executor, and start preparations to evacuate the Massassi outpost. In Star Wars number 15, the rebels abandon the base while General Dodonna remains behind to cover their retreat. Along the way, our heroes encounter the Imperial scientist Dr. Arrakis, who is dying from radiation poisoning. They travel to Aquarius and thwart Kraken's plans to steal the data Luke previously recovered. The main base is attacked by the Night Beast. Luke is tricked by an actor pretending to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Han Solo and Chewbacca recover a power gem from the ex-pirate Raskar. Luke discovers the remote planet Hoth. Admiral Akbar and the Mon Calamari are enlisted to help the rebels evacuate their main base. And Luke accompanies the rebel hero Vrad Dodonna on a mission which exposes Vrad's cowardice. The full depths of these stories, rich with details for fans, is not easily captured in a simple summary. Dark Horse released a comic in February 1993 that demonstrated the property's potential was not dependent on its main characters. Dark Horse Comics number 7 through 9. Dark Horse Comics is a short-lived anthology title that the publisher used to preview stories that would spin off into their own series. Published from 1992 to 1994, this title ran for 25 issues and mostly contained stories for the various licenses Dark Horse held. It should come as no surprise that 2 Star Wars titles were introduced in this anthology, the first of which is Tales of the Jedi. Published from February to April 1993, Dark Horse Comics number 7 through 9 each contain 8 pages of story titled The Saga of Nomi Sunrider Part 1, which introduces new characters and situations approximately 4,000 years before the events of the movies during the era of the Old Republic. Nomi Sunrider is the wife of Jedi Knight Ander Sunrider and mother to infant Vima Sunrider. In the story, her husband is murdered and Nomi uses her latent force powers to defeat the killers. By setting the story in a different era, Dark Horse opened up new possibilities for Star Wars storytelling. No longer were stories confined to the main Star Wars characters or the era of the original trilogy. The story is illustrated by Janine Johnston, her very first comic book work. It is reprinted in Tales of the Jedi number 3 with different lettering, coloring, and substantial rework of some of the panels. I will show the side-by-side comparison of the pages later in this video. Dark Horse Comics number 7 has a Star Wars cover with artwork by Joe Phillips. Looking at the sales data, these Dark Horse comics containing the Star Wars story received a considerable bump in sales, selling around the same number of copies as the classic Star Wars issues. Issue number 7 includes an additional 2 pages of text by the story's writer Tom Veitch. In the text, Veitch reveals a sequel to Dark Empire is being worked on. He also ties the Tales of the Jedi series into the first Dark Empire title. Vima Dabota, the Jedi who gave Princess Leia the lightsaber in Dark Empire number 3, is a distant relative of Vima Sunrider. Additionally, the Jedi holocron that Emperor Palpatine shows Leia in Dark Empire number 5 contains the teachings of Nomi Sunrider. The text also explains a second preview Ulrich Queldroma and the Beast Wars of Onderon is concurrently running in the Dark Horse Insider promotional magazine. Dark Horse Insider number 15 through 20. Dark Horse Insider is a free publication distributed by the publisher to specialty stores to promote their upcoming comics. It contains previews, news, interviews, and even original comic stories. The second volume is comic-sized, and issues number 15 through 20 each contain 2 pages of black and white artwork previewing the Ulrich Queldroma and the Beast Wars of Onderon story. These 12 pages are reprinted in color in Tales of the Jedi number 1. The story is by Tom Veitch with artwork by Chris Gossett. Following the 2 introductory previews, the first issue of Tales of the Jedi was released in October 1993. Tales of the Jedi number 1 through 3. 2 months after the preview pages in Dark Horse Insider concluded, Tales of the Jedi number 1 was published. This 5-part miniseries is broken into 2 stories. The first tale in issue number 1 and 2 centers on the Jedi apprentice Ulrich Queldroma. He is sent by his master Arca to the war-torn planet Onderon with his brother Kay and the Twi'lek Tot Donita. They are tasked with ending the centuries-long war between the Onderonians in the Great Walled City and the outcasts that subdued the beast of Duxon. If the setup sounds familiar, it is very similar to the tale about the shipwreckers and dragon lords told in Marvel's Star Wars number 11 through 14. The story is set in the same time period as the Saga of Nomi Sunrider, and the characters would appear again in later Tales of the Jedi miniseries. Tales of the Jedi number 3, published in December, kicks off the 3-part The Saga of Nomi Sunrider story. Issue number 3 reprints the first part of the story from Dark Horse Comics number 7 through 9. Tales of the Jedi number 1 and 2 are written by Tom Veitch and drawn by Chris Gossett. The story is dense and full of world building. The artwork is detailed and gritty with lots of shadows and line work. The costumes and technology do look like they are from an older time before the original trilogy. All of the covers of this miniseries are painted by Dave Dorman. Dave Dorman's work on Star Wars covers at Dark Horse were a huge contribution to the success of this line. Tales of the Jedi number 1 shows Ulrich Queldroma wielding his lightsaber with other Jedi holding up their sabers in the background. Tot Donita is riding a boma into battle against the Beast Lords on the cover of issue number 2. My favorite cover is the first issue with Nomi Sunrider. She is kneeling, holding her baby Vima, while her husband's lifeless body lays in front of her. Tales of the Jedi number 1 through 3 were the best-selling Dark Horse comics the month they came out, a first for the fledgling Star Wars line. The title's importance cannot be overstated. It was a financial success for Dark Horse and showed that fans were willing to embrace new eras with new characters. Dark Horse would capitalize on the success they had with reviving Star Wars comics. In the next year, they more than doubled their output from 1993 by expanding both the classic Star Wars titles and introducing all new series. Side-by-side comparison of the Saga of Nomi Sunrider Part 1. I want to finish this video by showing a side-by-side comparison of pages from Dark Horse Comics number 7 through 9 and Tales of the Jedi number 3. Many fans are not aware that there are differences between the 2 versions of the Saga of Nomi Sunrider Part 1. Wikipedia does mention a different color palette is used in Tales of the Jedi number 3, but as you will see, the changes are more extensive than just the colors. John Costanza is the letterer and Matthew Hollingsworth is the colorist for the preview. For Tales of the Jedi number 3, the pages are lettered by Willie Schubert and colored by Pamela Rambo, both who work on all the issues in this miniseries. These changes were probably done to provide consistency on the title. The colors in the preview are much brighter and closer to the aesthetics of the Dark Empire miniseries, which uses bold colors to contrast elements on the panel or to evoke a particular emotion. For the miniseries, the color palette is greatly toned down, providing a washed out look. I think these were appropriate changes to make. Janine Johnston illustrated Dark Horse Comics number 7 through 9, but John Nadeau is credited as the technical art assistant for Tales of the Jedi number 3. Nadeau redraws the spacecraft that Andor and Nomi's Sunrider use and much of the hardware shown in the background on many panels. Johnston's craft is less traditional and defined, whereas Nadeau's version is more detailed and clear. The ship is definitely enhanced by the changes, but there are other changes made to the artwork that are not improvements. For example, Johnston's orbital spaceport looks like it organically grew over time instead of having been designed from the start. A redrawn sail barge looks too much like Jabba's barge instead of an earlier era's version of the craft. Johnston's planets are definitely more interesting than those drawn by Nadeau. Nadeau redraws some of the characters in the panels, but not all of them are improvements, like when Nomi realizes her husband is dead. One of the more egregious changes is when he draws a blaster in the hand of an alien, but the next panel shows the blaster is clearly in the alien's other hand. Overall, I would have preferred that the artwork had remained untouched, since most fans are only going to see the modified work in traditional paperbacks that reprint the miniseries and not the original art. Almost all of the art changes are found in the first 16 pages, and I have not found any differences in the final 8 pages. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please click the like button. If you would like to see more content like this one, please subscribe. And don't forget to look at other videos on this channel. As always, leave a comment letting me know what you think.